Hi there, it's Rob Levy again. Hey, I wanted to talk to you today about something rather interesting that seems to be occurring of late, and that's way more millennials are buying houses than people thought they were going to. So it's very interesting as to what's going on in the real estate market right now. I'm coming to you from actually almost September 1st of 2021. We've been living with COVID for a long time. What we're seeing is two distinct trends happening, and that is folks in, say, their 60s to 70s that are making radical life changes that they weren't making before COVID, and younger millennial families in particular that are buying houses at a much higher rate than anticipated. So there's two faults to this. Let's start with the first one. Let's talk about the millennials. And what you'll notice is on this chart here up above shows how over the years the age of a first-time home buyer has gone up substantially. And so there's a couple of reasons for that, right? So one is that the cost of houses has gone up. And the second is that, a lot of people, a lot of millennials in particular, delayed buying houses. But what we're seeing now in national trends are rather interesting. Number one is that we're seeing a lot of millennials that were buying in inner city cores that are now starting to go out near the suburbs. Why is that, you might ask? Well, studies are actually showing that millennials are starting to want to be closer to where their parents are because they're having kids later and the parents are living longer, and the parents are helping the millennials raise the children, daycare, stuff like that. So that's the one thing that we're seeing. Again, on that chart, you can see that the average age of the first-time homebuyers now has gone up from 29 to 33, which is fairly substantial when you look at the large number of people in that age group. I speak to as a tail-end baby boomer, and there are a lot more millennials than there are baby boomers. So that's the first interesting thing. The second interesting thing is this chart right above here that just pops up. And this one rates home ownership rate by age group. And I'm going to put my glasses on for this one here. Excuse me a second. And so what we'll see is that in comparison to 2019 quarter two to 2021 quarter two, so just 2 years ago, we've seen some significant changes. One is you can see the growth in people buying houses under 35 years, 35 to 44 years, and that's the group that I was talking about. I realize that showed the median age of 33, but now we're talking about kids that are a little bit older. And by the way, I speak to you as a parent of 3 children in their mid-30s who've all now bought houses. One was in the inner city, which is now sold and gone to the suburbs. One was actually in Manhattan in New York City and has since moved back to Portland and bought a condo in downtown Portland, so still downtown. And I'm seeing it amongst all of their friends, which are a large part of our clients. A couple of things there. You'll notice that on this chart that's rather interesting is 45 to 54 years old has actually gone down almost 1% from 2019. But look at what 65 years old and over have done. So 65 years and older have made some radical changes, and the home ownership rate has gone up almost 2%. What we're seeing there is a couple of things. Number one is that people are turning 10,000 people a day are turning 65 for about the next 9 or 10 years. So right now, about 40% of millennials, or excuse me, of baby boomers have turned at 65, but only about 40% of them have retired. So we're seeing a massive amount of baby boomers that are starting to retire. As they retire, they're selling a little bit bigger houses and buying smaller houses, mostly single level, master on the main, something like that. And guess who's buying them? Well, the millennials are buying them. And all you've got to do is look in most big city neighborhoods that are kind of around this edge, close-in suburbs, and we're seeing a lot of younger families buying houses in there, just like I said, to be closer to where mom and dad live, but mom and dad are getting out of the bigger houses. So that's kind of what we're seeing is going on. The second part of what we're seeing there, at least with the baby boomers, is that a lot of them are buying homes in second markets. As some of you know, I live in Portland, Oregon. It's my main market, but I also sell homes in the Palm Springs area. And in some areas there, the home prices are up over 40%, which is unbelievable, and that's just in 1 year. What that reflects is people from the northern states going down to the southern states, and I call them the sand states, which would be California, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and so on, and even going across lower parts of Texas, and then coming up through Florida into South Carolina. And we're seeing lots of people that were going on big fancy cruises or were going on great big European trips, all of a sudden are saying, hey, I waited 2 years, I might have to wait another year, let's just buy a vacation home. So we're seeing a lot of people buying single level master on the main vacation homes where these people may or may not eventually move to in the Sun Belt, the Sand Belt or the Sun Belt. So as a result of that, in order to get that cash, they're selling their bigger homes in the northern states, which again are being gobbled up by the millennials. So it's kind of an interesting attrition of events. The stats that you saw me show here a couple of minutes ago substantiate that. And hey, listen, if you like watching my videos, click on subscribe and please share it with a friend. Also, just forward and share it with a friend. And if you've got any interest in buying and selling real estate, even if it's not in the Portland, Oregon area that I work, give me a contact right here. I'm connected as one of the top realtors in the country for almost 33 years now. I'm connected with other top realtors all around the country, and I'd be happy to put you in touch with one of those. So again, thank you for watching the videos. Subscribe if you want to see more of them, and please put some comments down there. Thanks a lot.